Hello and welcome to another episode of Bunny Hugs and Mental Health, a free safe space for people to share and learn from others' experiences with mental health and addictions. I'm Todd Runnebaum, suicide attempt survivor and a recovering substance abuser. It's summertime and life is crazy. There's a lot going on in my life right now, including moving to a new city, and lots of other stuff. So because of that, I'm going to take a little bit of time off, but don't worry, there's still great content, including this episode. Over the next coming weeks, I will be featuring some of my friends' podcasts that I think you should check out, and also some past episodes that maybe you haven't listened to yet, or they didn't get the love they deserved at the time. You know, not everyone's gone through and listened to every episode, so they may not be new to me, but they could be new to you. So please sit back and enjoy past episodes and other great episodes from other great podcasters. I will be returning with all new episodes August 31st, and be prepared, there's going to be some amazing guests with amazing stories. Until then, keep listening and enjoy. This episode is with Zach Williams, son of beloved actor Robin Williams, entitled Addict in Recovery and Sufferer of Depression, and it originally aired December 11th, 2021. And I saw that yesterday was your wedding anniversary.
Mm-hmm.
And it was also World Mental Health Day yesterday.
Yes, this is true.
Was that on purpose?
Married we really wanted to get married on October 10th, 2020. We really liked the whole flow of 10-10-2020. So it was a matter of coincidence that it happened to be World Mental Health Day, but it also makes a lot of sense. So
it's a happy coincidence then.
Mm-hmm.
So thank you for coming on again. I've already mentioned that, but also congratulations on you're having your second kid was just recent. 2 boys you have?
I have a 2.5-year-old boy and a 4-month-old girl.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
No worries.
And we have something similar. We're almost both 5 years sober.
Yes, indeed. Proudly in recovery. And my sobriety date is June 18th.
Okay, mine's November 6th, so it's coming up real quick here. It's actually my wife's actual birthday as well. That's my sober birthday. So 5 years ago, she didn't have a great birthday. I mean, ultimately she did, but that day was kind of a rough day. But so we're here to talk a little bit about addiction and your story behind that. I would love to hear kind of when you kind of started drinking and using and what that looked like for you.
Oh, wow. So, yeah, I started actually with cannabis when I was in my early teens. I was 12 years old when I started smoking cannabis. I kind of dated myself. Well, when I was a boy, I would smoke the reefer. No, I didn't really like alcohol much until I started consuming it in large volumes. I didn't like the taste, and I did like how it made me feel, but it kind of started with weed, with marijuana early on, and you know, I'm actually, in hindsight, it made me more anxious, and I didn't love the feeling of smoking weed. It was the type of thing that I was like, hey, look, it's this cool thing I can do. And, you know, it works. It makes you stoned. But I was kind of allergic to it. It just really worked on me. So, and it turns out there's actually a gene relating to cannabis sensitivity. And so, you know, I would just try to be with my friends and, you know, smoke as much as they were smoking. And it would just totally wipe me out. But But, moving on to other things, I was kind of shown the way of alcohol just kind of kicking off into high school, and I really liked it. Meaning, back to my earlier comment, I liked drinking in larger quantities. I didn't really like the taste. I didn't really like how beer tasted or wine tasted or liquor tasted, but I liked how it made me feel. And I liked the fact that it quieted my mind. That was kind of an ongoing theme for me. I had a lot of insomnia as a child. And when I would drink, especially in larger amounts, it would quiet my mind and would help me do things like sleep or just kind of more focus, which I liked. So, when it came to the insomnia and things like that, when I would actually drink larger amounts, it would help me sleep. So, in retrospect, I think there's a lot of other things I could have done to manage that, but all the anxiety I had, whether it was social or otherwise, kind of stopped. It was ameliorated through drinking, and I found that throughout high school and the like, alcohol made me feel a certain way that I liked, and I kind of graduated into other things as I entered college. I found, harder drugs to be more to my liking. And that was a period in my life that didn't last as long because they were so not good for me. In terms of just, finding things like cocaine and realizing that, oh, wow, this is kind of almost too much of a good thing and so bad for my mental health and my system. But it paired great with alcohol because the more you drink and the more you do things like Coke, the more you can just extend your evening, right? And
that's right.
And that, here's the irony with that, though, is that, my initial intention of, drinking often was to not feel certain things, was to get rid of the anxiety. Ultimately, it really helped me sleep. But then you discover things like Coke, and it was this weird thing where, suddenly the sleeping part didn't even matter. You just wanted to extend and go on and on and on and on and on. And so, there was this path for me that I thought was, really fun, where you could just stay out all night and be around people who were the life of the party. And the challenge with that is that people grow up and you get to a point where, suddenly you're like the last person who wants to stay out. And you're not even that old. For me, I was in my early 20s and I just wanted to be out all the time. And everyone else was like, no, I got to go to work in the morning, or I got to do these things. And I was like, yeah, so what? It's work, whatever. But, if you think about it, it's people just kind of getting on with their life, finding other opportunities, and I opportunities to have fun, make progress, all these things. And the thing that I realized for me is that you start using drugs, you start drinking heavily or what have you, the progress kind of stops. You don't really mature a ton as a person, maybe not at all in a lot of cases. So I'll start with that. I could go on and on, but I wanted to set the groundwork.
Now, your dad talked a lot about his struggles with addictions and mental health and stuff. Did that not have any effect? Like, that didn't sink into you at the time, I guess? Because obviously, my dad did the same thing to me, and and it didn't have any effect to me. So.
Well, it's funny because I didn't grow up with alcohol being a thing in my family household. You know, I never really saw my dad drink up until later in my life. And so for me, it was just not something that he did. I actually wasn't exposed to it, but you know, there's an interesting double-edged experience with that, right? Is that you don't see people consuming, you don't see your parents consuming alcohol. My mom doesn't really drink either. You know, there's family members and stuff who would, who I'd see drink and the like. So it's not like I grew up in, you know, a Puritan household, but I didn't see my parents have any relationship with alcohol. Right. So it's not like I witnessed a bad relationship with alcohol or a good relationship with alcohol. You just don't witness anything. So the interesting thing about that is then you kind of learn and discover on your own. All I knew is that my dad stopped drinking at a certain period in his life around the time I was born. And he had told me, yeah, I used to go at it. I used to drink a lot. I used to party a lot. It was a thing for me. And I liked it a lot. And I liked it almost too much. Right. And so, you know, relative to my journey, I kind of learned on my own what it looked like to experience all these things in excess.
So maybe our children won't see it either, because my kids were pretty young when I got sober. So maybe I should have waited to get sober so they could actually see the bad. You know?
Oh yeah, look at that! Look at that alcoholic brain in action right there. They just need to see me drunk. That's what they need, because then they would know.
I relapsed for you, son.
Yeah, exactly. You know, it's funny because the way in which my mind works, I would do something like that just because my brain would say, "Hey, this is logically sound." But you know, of course, I hope at this moment, I believe I know better. I'm just framing it like,
yeah.
Hey, there's a way of thinking that relates to using anything that is not in the best interests of us or our family.
Or my neighbors, really, even.
Or neighbors, right? Or anybody, you know, or my bank account, or
right. Okay, so we've gone up to college now. About what time, or I guess, when did it start to feel like this is now a problem and I should start changing?
Honestly, it was always kind of a problem for me.
Right.
I would say kind of the hardcore alcoholic drinking really came to a head after my dad passed away. So, you know, there was a progression.
Right.
I would say, you know, problem drinking, being weird about it, doing ridiculous things. You know, I mean, you name it, I've done it, you know, relating to hiding bottles or cleaning out mini bars, or, you know, there's a thing I would do where I would, you know, add liquid to bottles to extend them in certain situations. Just really, really alcoholic things. And
steal money?
No, you know, I wasn't like, the money thing for me was not what I would do. You know, I didn't like stealing money. But the other things I would do, primarily, you know, a lot of it related to drinking alone. And I really liked drinking alone.
Yeah.
Especially in my 20s. I mean, you know, actually always, you know, it was always something I appreciated, but leading from my 20s into my 30s and then into kind of that that trauma, that trauma was really manifesting, that phase after my dad passed away, that's when things got weird. So I would say kind of, the alcoholism was always there, to be honest. It's just the progressive nature of it really started manifesting. I just wouldn't want to be around anyone for days, and would want to find situations or solutions focused on not being around people. I started, the utility of things like beer diminished. It's just like,
this takes too long.
Why? I was like, got to the point where I was like, I don't get beer. It's just, it's like, why beer? Like, it's just, for me at least, it was just like, I couldn't think. It's like, yes, I could drink a beer to appear to be casual and socially acceptable in public, right? That's what it was for me, ultimately. Right. And it just got to the point where it was just like, anything I can do to maximize the consumption of alcohol to not feel anything was what I would do. So, the clearer the better for me. And
do you like gin?
Gin would make me angry.
Oh.
and also my whole thinking was, whiskey, gin, all those things, they had adulterants in it. So focus on, purity is key. So it would be vodka for me. Especially in the end. All that said, it became very clear to me that the manifested alcoholism that I experienced was symptomatic. I was dealing with other symptoms.
Right.
There was all sorts of things relating to trauma and anxiety and depression that I was managing through alcohol. And the path to recovery for me, it started off as kind of the type of thing I was like, I want to heal the relationships in my life. Therefore, I am done drinking. And I relapsed as a result of that, because I wasn't seeking sobriety for myself.
Right.
I was seeking it for the sake of my relationships with other people or for other people.
Right.
Which is not a bad thing at all.
Right. Yeah. But what I learned in treatment was, if you're not here for yourself, then you're going to relapse. And I've even said that while working there too. So, yeah.
Yeah, it puts you at risk. For sure, it puts you at risk. I think the thing that I came to realize was there's no harm in not wanting to drink for other people, but you need to prioritize doing it for yourself.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Did you go to a 12-step group, or what kind of methods did you use to find sobriety?
Yes, I'm active in 12-step. And from the onset, 12-step has been a very, very valuable community for me. Yeah,
same. It's been a rough year. I live in a very small town in a very small province in a very small country of Canada. And so it's because of COVID, we got our meetings shut down, and they haven't started again. There are ones online and stuff, but it's just not the same as having that face-to-face connections. But I'm still sober. It took me a while. I lacked in my program a bit, but I'm remembering everything again. And well, actually, I worked in the treatment center that I went to, and we had a fire. So that was around Christmas time. So working there, you're kind of always in the program. So anyway, since Christmas, I've kind of haven't been around 12-steppers as much. And so I've noticed this summer a bit. So I'm trying to get back into my program and reading my book and all that kind of stuff. So
great.
Yeah. It's I remember watching other people before I went to treatment, I saw other people go to treatment, and it almost seemed like a cult. The 12-step group. They come out and they do preach everything on Facebook and on Instagram, all this AA and all this spiritual stuff. And I thought, what the hell? They're brainwashing them, until I went and was like, oh no, this is just a fucking awesome program. It's just awesome life skills.
Yeah. For me, a large part of the stopping drinking thing was like, my life is no fun anymore. I don't want to say my life's over, because that's not how I thought about it. I thought it more so, there will be no fun moving forward.
Right. Yeah.
And I mean, it couldn't be further from the truth for me. I enjoy life more than I ever have active in drinking, active in my addiction. There were moments of a lot of fun, but far outweighing that was the misery, the hangovers, the ruined relationships, the guilt, the shame. I don't live with guilt and shame anymore. It's a weird feeling, right? When the guilt and shame goes away, where I can look at people in the eye and say, I'm well, how are you?
Yeah. Yeah, I was making apologies several times a week when I was using. Now it's like, I haven't apologized for a thing in a long, long time. It's weird. I haven't made a complete ass of myself in like 4 years or longer. Yeah. So do you have a good sponsor?
I adore my sponsor. Yeah.
Good. Yeah.
He's the best.
Did you have to shop around a bit, or was it the first sponsor you had?
He was my second sponsor. And the only reason why I stopped working with my first sponsor is because I moved to Los Angeles. And
you're in LA.
I'm in LA. I'm from San Francisco.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Yeah. But I moved. And so I wanted to be in the same area as a sponsor.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mine moved away. He's about 3 hours away. And yeah, it's
where you're in. Are you in Newfoundland?
I'm in Saskatchewan.
You're in Saskatchewan.
Yes.
Amazing.
You've heard of it?
Yes. I just was thinking small province.
Small population wise, not so much
small population. Yeah. No, Saskatchewan's pretty big.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. It's bigger than Texas, I think.
Yeah.
But we only have 1 million people.
Is it Edmonton? Is that where? No. It's not Edmonton. That's Alberta. Regina.
And Moose Jaw. And Saskatoon.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. Nice. And the Rough Riders.
Right.
That's our football team. Sorry.
Yeah, no, I'm sort of familiar, but only in name. I've never seen them play.
Right.
I've never been to a Rough Riders game.
Well, they just built a brand new stadium a while back, and it holds a little over 30,000 people. So, yeah, it's not like what's the one in Dallas where it holds like 100,000 people. So,
yeah.
So it's like 2% of the population goes to the Rider games,
Amazing.
Yeah. Since you've quit drinking, is this when you joined that Glenn Close's group Bring Change to Mind? Or
around that time? No, I was actively. I mean, I wasn't. I started work with the organization around the time when I was interested in stopping drinking, but I hadn't stopped.
Okay, it was after your dad passed.
Yes.
Okay, and what exactly is that group? The Bring Change to Mind.
Sure, it's an organization focused on providing mental health resources for high schools throughout the U.S. and developing peer-to-peer communities. And then it also launches anti-stigma campaigns.
Beautiful. Yeah, it's there's still a lot of stigma around mental health in the States.
Bunny Hugs and Mental Health is supported by Co-op. I've been a member of my local co-op, Sherwood Co-op, for about 20 years. If you live in Western Canada, especially the prairies, or spent any time here, you've probably fueled up or bought groceries at a co-op. You might even have a co-op number, or 2, or 3. You know if you know. But Co-op is not just a gas bar or a grocery store. Although Co-op is those things too, it's a different kind of business. Co-op members are owners and success is shared with everyone. Your co-op doesn't benefit one person or one corporation. Your co-op was built for everyone. Your co-op was built for your community. Learn more about co-op and find a location near you at co-op.crs. One thing I've learned through my experience with mental health and addictions is you never know what you need to hear until you hear it. Make sure to rate and review on Apple and to tell as many people as you can about the podcast so others can hear something they need to hear from one of my guests. After all, this is a free mental health service, which is a rare thing, so why not share with as many people as you can?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, here too. That's one of the reasons why I'm doing the podcast. Because I've talked to people from, not just depression, anxiety, and addiction, but postpartum to schizophrenia to eating disorders or whatever. And it's like, why is this still a stigma? Like, there's so many different types. And so, like, everyone has something to do with mental health, like, why are we still ashamed to talk about this stuff? But
yeah, I get it.
Yeah. Unfortunately, in our province, there's still a huge stigma around addiction. How do you feel about harm reduction and like safe consumption sites and stuff like that?
I'm all for it. For me personally, harm reduction sounds miserable. The fact that I could just sit and have, a beer or a drink sounds awful. I like that's not fun for me, because it's just an exercise in restraint. It's just a lot easier in the longer run for me just not to have to worry about that side of the equation. It's just
right.
I just don't have to think about measuring out my drinks or count how many I've had because it's always zero. Right.
Yeah. I know, like, opioids, it's a different thing. Trying to get off heroin, I can kind of get, that's, I don't judge anyone. So whatever, if it's harm reduction works and it's proven to work, then whatever, I'm all for it too. So,
Hey, look, I think it's tremendous in a lot of circumstances. And so for me, I'm all for it. Whatever works for someone is I would be in favor of that.
Right. Yeah. Even if it means not 12-step group.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
It just so happens that 12-step is very valuable for people who work through it. I've seen cases where I've seen people go into 12-step and it's just not for them. Mm-hmm. And there's reasons that that's the case. But for the people I've seen who've consistently worked the program, who decide to who make the commitment to focus around the steps, who identify the other issues associated with it, whether it's alcoholism in their family or codependency or all those things, and just know that that's an element of their program. And there's things that the steps can provide, and there's things that the steps cannot provide. Mm-hmm. And there needs to be an acknowledgement around that. I think often people are like, I've been in a situation where I've worked with people who have codependency issues, and the 12 steps are not going to help you with certain issues relating to codependency.
Right.
They're not equipped to do that. The 12 steps are specifically designed for you to A, stop drinking, and secondly, be of service. That's really what it's about. And that ultimately keeps you sober and ideally happy, or happier. Right. And so the lens that I have is know if you're engaging within 12-step, know what you're getting into, because often there are other underlying issues. There could be mental health issues or like that 12 steps can't help you with. Mm-hmm. But what the 12 steps will help you with is staying sober so you could work on all that other stuff.
Yeah, that's right. The people that I've found that have the hardest problem with 12-step groups, it's that word God and everything. And they can't get it out of their head that God means, religion or Jesus or something. And it's like, no, man, like that's just lack for a better word, higher power greater than ourselves, whatever. And it really, I think a lot of people have hangups. What am I trying to say? The people that have the hardest time to grasp that spiritual part of it seem to be people that have anger towards their religion from when they were a kid or something. And it's like, okay, well, scrap all that. Like, you don't need any of that. It's just, I don't know. Because for me, I didn't go to church. It was an easy concept for me to grab, just the spiritual.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I think there's a couple of things that are going on, right? One is, in some circumstances, people rely upon religion to be the cop-out, right?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Saying, oh, it's a spiritual program, therefore I'm not going to be involved.
Right.
And that's an excuse.
Yeah.
Because everyone has some form of spirituality in their life, whether they like it or not.
Yeah, I agree.
Even if they take an atheistic approach. And the incredible thing is, guess what? 12-step has a very clear, viable approach for atheists. And it's not mental gymnastics that you need to get your head around.
Yeah.
If you're a humanist, if you believe in your fellow man or woman or they or what have you, then you can get behind a 12-step program. So, and even if you don't believe in people, you only believe in yourself as the center of all of the universe, that's fine too. Yeah. I think you've got some other issues you need to work out, but I think there's really a depth of understanding of oneself that can be had through really working the program.
Yeah.
That's my read on it. But
even in the big book, say, even in the big book, it says, so, you only believe in science and whatever. It's like, well, science is then your faith. So you do have some faith in something, so even that's a higher power of some types. It's like, so yeah, I 100% agree with what you're saying. Everyone's got some kind of spirituality.
But it's also important, I'm not promoting the program. I'm not,
right.
I need to, right. None of us are promoting the program. Right. No, but I think it's interesting. Right. I think it's interesting to really delve into the mechanics of why this can be miraculous for some people.
Yeah.
Because me active in my addiction is me ultimately shortening my life, destroying my relationships, isolating myself, and to have the privilege and opportunity to engage in something that has freed me of that burden is exceptional. So, I'm not going to go on and on about it. Other people find opportunities in any number of things, whether it's harm reduction or, finding connection with people or repairing relationships or
forgiveness,
all these different things. Yeah. It just so happens that there's a path for me that I've found a great deal of healing from.
Yeah. And same. And there was a time in my life where I thought that was impossible. So it's it's a nice feeling coming up on 5 years. I mean, there's been times where it's white knuckling, but still I made it. And I'm still trying to do the maintenance and all that. So
good.
I read somewhere that kind of before you quit You were even having some like psychosis issues with the drinking.
When you drink every day for a period of weeks, yeah, it can create some issues.
Were you ever
The main
diagnosed
thing,
with anything other than alcoholism, or?
I was never diagnosed with alcoholism.
I guess, yeah.
I diagnosed myself with alcoholism. No, that's not true. Actually, I took a blood test, and afterwards I was meeting with the doctor, and the doctor said, either you're drinking alcoholically, or you've got some exceptional readings on your test, and something else is very wrong. So I would suggest that you find opportunities to stop drinking. And I still drank. That's the madness of it. The psychosis element. Yeah. So it's just your hormones go all out of whack, and your brain starts operating differently, and you kind of, you kind of just stop thinking in the way that you used to. And it reverts. Hopefully, for me it did, but I just wasn't able to function in a normal way. I for lack of a better word, no, I was just really dysregulated. My hormones were all out of whack. My brain was firing all over the place, and it was hard to focus, and I was super anxious, and it was just generally miserable.
Right. Were you diagnosed with any other kind of mental health illnesses or issues, or?
Anxiety disorder, PTSD. So
PTSD. Oh, okay. So yeah, okay, yeah. Because I mean, most people I've ever met in treatment, working there more, there's always some other kind of mental illness or mental health issues along with the addiction. I mean, not always, but like a good portion of it. There's people diagnosed with bipolar, PTSD, chronic anxiety, depression, and stuff like that. So yeah.
So I'm prone to depression if I don't take care of myself, but no, I haven't been diagnosed with depression. For me, it was that circumstance where you find alcohol, it interacts with your system in a specific way that you feel is a solution for your problems.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And that can snowball over time. I think trauma is a big part of it, just in terms of why I ultimately relied upon it as a crutch. And, in the longer run, I think there was a progression for me. The quality of my life degraded the more I would continue to drink.
Right. Yeah. That's why they consider it a disease. It's progressive and deadly. The trauma you're talking about, is that the losing your father, or was there other traumas that?
There were certain. No,
only talk about what you want to talk about, obviously.
Oh yeah, sure. Yeah, there were certainly other traumas in life, and I didn't acknowledge the trauma of events, say like September 11th, which I experienced as someone who had just moved to New York.
Oh, really?
So I was just 2 weeks into living in New York when everything went down. And for me, I kind of tamped it down. I didn't really address it as being a traumatic event. And I realized later on, when I was having some nightmares and just experiences relating to it, that I kind of repressed some stuff. And I think there's a number of things just over the course of one's life that I picked. There's a number of things I picked up. But I would say, from my experience, yes, I see people with mental health considerations. And then I also see people who are, for all intents and purposes, perfectly normal and fine, who happen to be raging alcoholics. So, I think it's a mix of nature and nurture. But
what I was just going to ask that about. That was my next note: nature and nurture, and how it affected you.
Oh man, you see the nature people. You meet them, and they're fully functioning, happy-go-lucky, wonderful, delightful human beings. And then they get a drink in them and they become the worst people. And it's just like, we all, to those listening, I can't speak for everyone, but I feel like most of us know that person or that set of people that it's confounding, right?
Yeah.
They're functioning humans, and they have, lives, and then they get that drink in them and they just become absolute train wrecks.
Yeah. Were you a happy drunk? I wasn't around people. By myself, I was a miserable.
Yeah.
Self-pity
Yeah, that
drunk.
was it. I was a pensive drunk. I the main thing for me was drinking to think, to get that moment of clarity. And then oblivion, and then sickness. It was just, it was kind of what I sought, that isolation and those singular thoughts and the feeling of euphoria and all these different elements. And I wouldn't necessarily call me a happy or unhappy drunk. I was a dutiful drunk. I would drink dutifully.
I don't know why I find that so funny. I'm kind of the same way. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it was a dumb question. Yeah. I don't know. But anyway,
it was an embrace question. On the nurture side of things, yeah, there's trauma and all sorts of stuff that crops up. Also, if you drink over a long periods of time, it's addictive for anybody.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So, you're going to experience the downside of alcohol if you're drinking constantly over time. Your brain acclimates to it. Your body acclimates to it.
Yeah.
Your organs acclimate to it. So they're conditioned to taking it on and metabolizing it. So
yeah. Like your dad had a relapse after about 20 years, or I was so I've read anyway.
Yeah.
Is that kind of in your brain a little bit? That's because I've heard of, that's a long time to go and then to relapse. Is that something that you're kind of keeping in the back of your mind at all times? Like, I have to keep this constant maintenance, or, it can sneak up anytime?
Well, from my experience, and I have relapsed. So, there was a period of sobriety before the time I have. You just pick up right up where you left off.
Yeah.
That's that. So
even 20 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to go into detail here, but I've witnessed that. And for me, based upon my experience, and the progression it's not like maybe there's some sort of experience where you can reverse your alcoholic age.
Right.
But no, that's literally what it is. You've got, or this is called your alcoholic progression. You've got this little status bar and it fills up and you stop. It doesn't go back down.
Yeah.
You just
that's right.
You start right where you left off, exactly where you left off. and you have the great joy and privilege of experiencing that progression. And I have a hunch that your organ health and everything related to it kind of picks up pretty soon, reverts pretty soon after to that point where you have progressed to. On the positive side, you can heal from that.
Right. Yeah.
But I, from my experience, from my learnings, I haven't seen people go back to drinking. I have seen people go back to drinking and measure their drinking, but they don't seem very happy.
Why bother?
Why bother? But I would say, in my experience, when I see people go back out, they go back out right where they left off, and like there's just crazy things that happen really soon after.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you spend enough time in the rooms, and then you see people go out, and they'll be like, "Yeah, I went out." Stories, and these are true stories, right?
Yeah.
You know, someone will go out like I can't speak to them, but just I'll speak hypothetically.
Okay.
You know, someone will go out and they'll be, homeless in a week.
Yeah.
Just wild things, you know.
Yeah.
Like they're very functional people. They're in jail, or or worse.
That's right. Yeah.
In a few days, and it's just like, how does that happen? And then I was like, oh wait, you know, the progression's really quick. And for me, you know, I would try to manage all that. I would be like, okay, what can I do to make it right this time round? So you basically, you basically lock yourself up to try to manage it. And it's just like, oh, great. You're miserable. You're locked up, but you'll still do ridiculous shit. You can still ruin all sorts of relationships from the confines of your own home.
That's right.
So, you're just the thing I keep on referring to. I don't know. You know the Philly Fanatic.
Yes.
Yeah, the Philly Fanatic, the mascot.
Yeah.
And there's that quote, that adage. I don't know. Can I swear? Do you mind if I swear?
I prefer it.
Okay. The whole that phrase, fuck around and find out.
Yeah.
That's the Philly Fanatic phrase. It's like, okay, great. When it comes to drinking or using shit, it's like, by all means, go for it. Fuck around and find out. And that's what I tell myself. If you're ever in a situation where it's just like, yeah, maybe I can just do this normally. And it's just like, Zach, fuck around and find out.
Yeah. Yeah. I'd quit drinking for 2 years on my own. I wasn't going to meetings or anything. It was just on my own. And
congratulations.
Well, thanks. It didn't last. It was about 2 years, and then I had that same thinking where it's like, well, shit, if I can quit drinking on my own, I obviously don't have a problem. So then I started drinking again, and it was like 6 months I was in treatment. So I was getting high every day. I was still smoking pot every day, but I quit drinking for 2 years. But yeah. So somebody in a room said once that relapsing, it's kind of like God damn it, I can't think of the word now. Hibernating bear. It's just sitting there. It's like just waiting. And when it wakes up and you wake it up, it's just as hungry as it was when it went to bed. And it was just like, yeah, it's just right there again, and it's ready to go. So, yeah.
And so, we have the great privilege of being able to fuck around and find out. And I don't need to do that. I know what the result is going to be. I'm going to be miserable, and the downside is just intense, and the progression is there. And I don't need that. I don't need that in my life. I love my life.
I didn't realize that fuck around and find out was a Philly Fanatic thing.
Yeah.
Huh. Well, I learned something today.
I think so.
So talk about your mood chews.
Oh wait, no. I'm sorry. I'm looking up here. It's not the Philly Fanatic. I take that back. It's Gritty, the Philadelphia Flyers.
Oh, okay.
Mascot. It's Gritty. Gritty is where that phrase comes from.
Okay.
Not the fanatic. The fanatic does other things. It's Gritty who does that. So
I don't know what he looks
back.
like. I don't know what Gritty looks like, but that's fine.
Gritty looks like a Muppet.
Okay, I do know. Yeah. Well, they both kind of look like Muppets, but
they both are Muppets. They're mascots. All mascots are technically Muppets. So,
that's true.
Yeah. No, sorry, it wasn't. No. So I take that back. It wasn't the Philly Fanatic. It was Gritty. Gritty, okay. Who's the Flyers mascot. Okay. So jumping into my
Mood Chews. Yeah.
Look, when I stopped drinking, I was really anxious and started learning a lot about amino acids to manage my mental health. Turns out I had some neurotransmitter deficiencies that when I take amino acid formulations, it kind of solves for them. So I started taking this. My wife, Olivia, put me onto it, and I just loved how they kind of cleared away the stress and anxiety in a meaningful way. So it's basically taking a nutritional approach to managing mental health, and was so impressed with it. And I wanted to start a brand that stood for breaking down the stigma associated with mental health. So we created a company that could stand for breaking down the stigma while delivering safe, effective, non-psychotropic products. And that's the origin of Pym. So we've been out since September of last year. We've helped tens of thousands of people. And, you can find our product online at youcanpym.com, youcampym.com. And it's just been great. I love that I get to help people and support their well-being while providing simple solutions to help manage them. And, people are writing us saying, they didn't realize they could do this.